The crimson warning lights bathed the command deck of the Galactic Tribunal's flagship in an eerie glow. Admiral Zephyx, his 6 eyes blinking in rapid succession, couldn't believe what he was seeing on a holographic display. The human female, Dr. Elena Vasquez, stood alone in the center of the containment field, her brown hair matted with sweat and her lab coat torn from 3 days of interrogation. Yet somehow, impossibly, she was still smiling. "Sir, the prisoner refuses to reveal the location of the weapon," reported Lieutenant Commander Korvac, his serpentine tongue flicking nervously. "She claims it doesn't exist." Zephyx's mandibles clicked with frustration. The weapon Elena had allegedly created could reshape reality itself, bend the very fabric of space and time. Every species in the galaxy wanted it. Every government feared it. And this tiny human female held the key to the most dangerous piece of technology ever conceived. "Bring in the Apex," Zephyx commanded, his voice echoing through the bridge. "If she won't talk to us, perhaps she'll talk to Death Incarnate." The bridge crew exchanged worried glances. The Apex Predator was their final solution, a being so terrifying that entire star systems surrendered at the mere mention of his name. Captain Marcus Stone, the only human to ever be granted the title of Apex Predator by the Galactic Council, had a reputation that preceded him across 1,000 worlds. Elena heard the approaching footsteps long before the containment field shimmered and deactivated. She turned toward the sound, her heart pounding despite her outward calm. The stories about the Apex Predator were legendary. They said he could kill with a glance, that he had single-handedly ended 3 civil wars, and that his very presence could make hardened warriors weep like children. The first thing that struck her was his size. Marcus Stone stood nearly 7 feet tall, his broad shoulders filling the doorway like a mountain of muscle and menace. His dark hair was cropped short, military style, and his piercing blue eyes seemed to see straight through her soul. Across his back, 2 massive plasma rifles were crossed in an X formation, and his belt held enough weapons to arm a small platoon. "Dr. Elena Vasquez," Marcus said, his voice deep and resonant, "you've caused quite a stir." Elena raised her chin defiantly. "I've been called worse things by better people." Marcus couldn't help but smirk. Even facing the most feared assassin in the galaxy, this human female had the audacity to crack jokes. He stepped closer, his boots echoing against the metal floor. "They wanted to kill you unless you tell them where the weapon is hidden." "Well, that's going to be a problem," Elena replied, crossing her arms. "Because I can't tell what they want to know. Can't or won't." "Can't," she said firmly. "The weapon they're looking for doesn't exist. It never did." Marcus studied her face, searching for any sign of deception. His enhanced senses, augmented by decades of battlefield experience, told him she was telling the truth, but that didn't make sense. The Galactic Council had spent months tracking down rumors of this reality-bending weapon, and every trail led back to Elena's research. "Explain," he commanded, his hand moving instinctively to one of his sidearms. Elena laughed, a sound that was equal parts bitter and amused. "You want the truth? Fine. I was working on theoretical physics, trying to understand the fundamental nature of consciousness and reality. My research suggested that perception itself might be the key to unlocking new forms of energy. But it was all theoretical. Mathematical equations on a screen. The Council seemed to think otherwise. The Council," Elena spat, "is run by paranoid fools who see weapons in every shadow. They intercepted my research proposals, twisted my words, and convinced themselves I was building some kind of doomsday device. They've been hunting me for 6 months based on their own fever dreams." Marcus felt something stir in his chest, an emotion he hadn't experienced in years. Doubt. He had killed hundreds of targets based on the Council's intelligence, never questioning their orders. But looking at Elena now, seeing the exhaustion in her eyes and the genuine frustration in her voice, he began to wonder if he had been nothing more than a tool for the Council's agenda. "Show me," he said suddenly. Elena blinked in surprise. "What?" "Show me your research. If it's as harmless as you claim, prove it." Elena gestured helplessly around a containment cell. "With what?" "They destroyed my lab, confiscated my equipment, and erased my data files. Everything I worked for is gone." Marcus was quiet for a long moment, his tactical mind processing the implications. If Elena was telling the truth, then the Council had essentially committed genocide against her career and reputation over nothing. If she was lying, then she was the most convincing liar he had ever encountered. "There's another problem," Marcus said slowly. "Even if I believe you, the Council won't. They're expecting me to either bring them the weapon's location or bring them your head. Those are my only two options." Elena's smile returned, but this time it was sharp and dangerous. "Actually, Captain Stone, you have a third option. You just haven't thought of it yet." "I'm listening." "You could walk away. Tell the Council you killed me, that the weapon was destroyed with me. Let them think they've won while I disappear into the Outer Rim territories. Everyone gets what they want." Marcus shook his head. "They'd verify the kill. DNA samples, biometric scans, the works. I can't fake your death." "Then don't fake it," Elena said, her voice dropping to a whisper. "Help me become someone else entirely." Before Marcus could respond, the containment field reactivated with a low hum. Admiral Zephyx's voice crackled through the speakers. "Apex Predator, report. What is your status?" Marcus looked up at the security cameras. His jaw clenched. "The target is resistant. I need more time." "Time is a luxury we don't have," Zephyx replied. "The Council is expecting results within the hour. Complete your mission, Captain Stone." The transmission cut off, leaving Marcus and Elena alone in the cell. The silence stretched between them, heavy with possibility and danger. "You're actually considering it," Elena observed, studying his face. "I'm considering the fact that I might have spent my entire career as the galaxy's most effective puppet," Marcus replied grimly. "How many innocent people have I killed because the Council pointed me in their direction?" Elena stepped closer, her voice urgent. "Marcus, listen to me. I've studied human psychology extensively. You're what we call an apex predator not because you're the most violent, but because you're the most intelligent. You've survived this long because you think before you act. Trust that instinct now." Marcus felt the weight of his weapons, the familiar burden he had carried for so many years. Each rifle, each blade, each explosive device represented a life he had taken in service to the Council. But looking at Elena now, he saw something he hadn't seen in years. "Hope. The research you mentioned," he said carefully, "about consciousness and reality. Could it actually work?" Elena's eyes lit up with scientific passion. "Theoretically, yes, but not as a weapon, as a tool for understanding. Imagine being able to perceive the universe as it truly is, not filtered through the limitations of our biological senses. We could solve problems that have plagued civilization for millennia, or we could break everything trying." "Every great discovery carries risk," Elena admitted, "but the risk of ignorance is far greater than the risk of knowledge." Marcus made his decision. In one fluid motion, he drew his primary plasma rifle and set it on the floor. The weapon hit the deck with a metallic clang that seemed to echo through the entire ship. "What are you doing?" Elena asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Marcus unstrapped his secondary rifle and placed it beside the first. Then his sidearms, his combat knives, his explosive charges. One by one, he disarmed himself completely, each weapon representing a piece of his old life that he was leaving behind. When he had finished, Marcus Stone, the most feared assassin in the galaxy, slowly lowered himself to one knee in front of Dr. Elena Vasquez. "I'm choosing to believe you," he said, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what he was doing. "And I'm choosing to help you." Elena stared at him in shock. "Marcus, if they find out, they'll hunt us both to the ends of the galaxy," he finished. "I know, but I'd rather die helping someone who's trying to make the universe better than live as a weapon for those who want to control it." Alarms began blaring throughout the ship. The security cameras had undoubtedly recorded everything, and the Council's response would be swift and merciless. Marcus stood up, his tactical mind already shifting into escape mode. "Can you fight?" he asked Elena. "I'm a scientist, not a soldier." "Then stay close and do exactly what I tell you. We're about to find out just how good the apex predator really is when he's fighting for something he believes in instead of just following orders." The containment field flickered and died as Marcus overrode the security systems using his command codes. Red emergency lights strobed across the corridor as armed guards rushed toward their position. "One more question," Marcus said as he hefted his weapons once more. "That theoretical research of yours. How long would it take you to recreate it?" Elena smiled, and for the first time since her capture, it was genuine. "Give me a lab in 6 months, and I'll show you wonders beyond your imagination." "Then let's get you that lab," Marcus replied, checking his rifle's charge. Time to remind the galaxy why humans are the most dangerous species in the universe. As the first wave of guards rounded the corner, Marcus Stone began to laugh. It was a sound that struck fear into the hearts of his enemies, and hope into the heart of the woman behind him. The apex predator was about to become something far more dangerous than a weapon. He was about to become a protector, and the galaxy would never be the same. They ordered the apex predator to kill her. He dropped his weapon and kneeled instead. The first wave of guards rounded the corner, expecting to find the apex predator standing over a corpse. Instead, they found Marcus Stone in full combat mode, his plasma rifle spitting death with surgical precision. 3 guards dropped before they could even raise their weapons. "Move," Marcus shouted to Elena, his voice cutting to the chaos of alarms and weapons fire. "Service corridor, 50 meters ahead on your left." Elena ran, her scientific mind cataloging the impossible efficiency of Marcus's movements. Each shot was perfectly placed, each step calculated to provide maximum cover. This wasn't random violence. This was artistry in motion. "Contact Admiral Zephyx immediately." Lieutenant Commander Korvac screamed into a communicator as another squad of guards rushed past him. "The apex predator has gone rogue. Repeat, Marcus Stone has turned traitor." On the bridge, Admiral Zephyx's 6 eyes widened in disbelief. Impossible. Stone has never disobeyed an order. Never. "Sir, security footage confirms it," reported his communications officer. He disarmed himself in front of the prisoner, then rearmed when reinforcements arrived. They're fighting their way toward the docking bay. Zephyx's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. "Lock down the entire ship. Deploy the hunter squads. And contact the Council immediately. Tell them we have a catastrophic situation." 2 levels below, Marcus and Elena pressed themselves against a bulkhead as another patrol swept past. Elena's breathing was ragged, her academic life having provided little preparation for running gun battles through starship corridors. "Why?" Elena whispered, her voice barely audible over the distant sounds of pursuit. "Why risk everything for someone you just met?" Marcus checked his ammunition counter before responding. "Because I just realized something terrifying. I can't remember the last time I questioned an order. I can't remember the last time I thought about whether my targets deserved to die. I've become exactly what they wanted, a weapon without a conscience. And now I'm choosing to be human again," Marcus replied, his blue eyes blazing with determination. "Even if it kills me." A new voice crackled through the ship's communication system, cold and mechanical. "Attention, fugitives. This is Hunter Prime. You are surrounded. Surrender now, and your deaths will be swift." Elena felt the blood drain from her face. "Who is Hunter Prime?" Marcus's expression grew grim. "The Council's backup plan. When they need someone eliminated, and even I might fail, they send the Hunters. Cybernetic assassins with no capacity for mercy or doubt. How many? Usually 3. They work in perfect coordination, share tactical data in real time, and never stop until their target is dead." Marcus reloaded his rifle with practiced efficiency. "The good news is they're expensive to deploy. The bad news is they're here." Elena's scientific mind began working furiously. Their coordination system. It has to be quantum-based to achieve real-time data, sharing across multiple units. If we could disrupt their network. "You think you can hack killer robots while running for your life?" "I think I can try," Elena said, pulling a small device from her torn lab coat. "Emergency data pad. I always carry one. If I can access their communication frequency." The sound of approaching footsteps cut her off. These weren't the heavy boots of organic guards. These were the precise, measured steps of machines built for death. "Time's up," Marcus muttered, raising his weapon. Stay behind me and keep working on that pad. Hunter Prime rounded the corner first. Its humanoid form a twisted marriage of flesh and steel. Half of its face was organic, the other half a gleaming metal skull with a red optical sensor for an eye. Its companions flanked it perfectly, moving with inhuman coordination. Marcus Stone. Hunter Prime spoke, its voice a disturbing blend of human and machine. You have violated your programming. I was never programmed, Marcus replied, opening fire. I was just convinced I was. The battle that followed was unlike anything Elena had ever witnessed. Marcus moved like a force of nature, his enhanced reflexes and tactical training allowing him to match the hunter's superhuman abilities. But even as he fought, she could see he was being pushed back. The hunters felt no pain, no fear, no hesitation. Got it, Elena shouted, her fingers flying over the data pad. I've accessed their network protocol. It's using quantum entanglement for instantaneous communication, but the encryption is based on a rotating cipher algorithm. English, Doctor, Marcus yelled, ducking behind a support beam as energy bolts seared the air around him. I can blind them, but only for about 30 seconds before they adapt. Do it. Elena's fingers found the execution command. For a split second, the three hunters froze, their shared consciousness severed. Marcus didn't waste the opportunity. He moved with lethal precision, his rifle finding its mark twice before the hunter's individual programming reasserted itself. Hunter Prime, now alone, turned its red optical sensor toward Elena. You will not escape. The Council's will is absolute. The Council's will, Elena said, standing up despite Marcus's frantic gestures for her to stay down, is based on fear and ignorance. You're enforcing the will of cowards. I do not understand fear, Hunter Prime replied, raising its weapon. I understand only completion of mission parameters. Then you understand nothing at all, Elena said sadly, and that's exactly what makes you dangerous. Marcus's final shot caught Hunter Prime in the head, sending the cyborg assassin crashing to the deck. Sparks flew from its damaged optical sensor as its systems shut down one by one. The docking bay, Marcus said, helping Elena to her feet. We need to move before more reinforcements arrive. They ran through the ship's corridors, past blast doors that Marcus sealed behind them, using his rapidly expiring command codes. Elena's mind raced as they moved, processing everything she had learned about the ship's layout and the Council's response patterns. Marcus, she said as they reached the docking bay entrance, even if we escape, where can we go? The Council has resources across the galaxy. Marcus paused at the control panel, his fingers hovering over the door controls. There are places, outer rim territories where the Council's influence is weak, independent colonies that don't bow to their authority. That's not a life. That's just running forever. Then what do you suggest? Elena's smile was sharp and brilliant. We stop running and start fighting back. My research, the theoretical work they're so afraid of, what if we could actually make it work? The docking bay door slid open to reveal Marcus's personal ship, a sleek Predator-class vessel designed for stealth and speed. But as they approached, energy bolts began raining down from the upper galleries. Admiral Zephyx had arrived with the remaining security forces. Stone. Zephyx's voice echoed through the bay. You have betrayed everything you swore to protect. Marcus helped Elena up the ship's boarding ramp, his rifle providing covering fire. I swore to protect the innocent, Admiral. I'm just finally doing my job right. The Council will hunt you across the galaxy. There is nowhere you can hide. Then we'll make sure they have other things to worry about, Marcus replied, sealing the ship's hatch. Elena, are you strapped in? Ready. Marcus engaged the ship's engines, the Predator-class vessel lifting off with a roar that shook the entire docking bay. Zephyx's security forces scattered as the ship's thrusters scorched the deck plating. Warning shots across their bow. Zephyx commanded his gunners. Disable their engines. But the Apex Predator ship was already moving, its stealth systems engaging as it slipped to the flagship's defensive perimeter. Within minutes, they were clear of the Council fleet and jumping to hyperspace. In the ship's small cabin, Elena finally allowed herself to breathe. We did it. We actually escaped. Marcus set the autopilot and turned to face her. This is just the beginning. The Council won't stop hunting us, and eventually they'll find us. Then we better make sure we're ready for them when they do," Elena replied, pulling up holographic displays from her memory. "You want to see what I was really working on? The research that has them so terrified." Marcus leaned forward, his tactical mind already shifting from escape mode to planning mode. "Show me." Elena's fingers danced over the holographic interface, equations and theoretical models filling the air around them. "It's not a weapon. It's a key, a way to unlock human potential that we've never even imagined. Enhanced perception, expanded consciousness, the ability to see and interact with reality at the quantum level. And the Council is afraid of this because knowledge is power, and power threatens their control. Imagine humans who can perceive the universe as it truly is, who can't be lied to or manipulated because they can see through deception at the most fundamental level." Marcus studied the equations, his enhanced intellect beginning to grasp the implications. "You're talking about evolution, forced evolution of a human species. Not forced, chosen. The technology would be available to anyone who wanted it. But the Council fears a galaxy where humans can be controlled, where we're not just another species to be managed and manipulated. How long to build a prototype?" Elena's grin was predatory. "With the right resources and a secure location, maybe 4 months. But we'll need help. Other scientists, engineers, people who believe in human potential." Marcus nodded slowly. "I know people. Rebels, outcasts, others who've been betrayed by the system. They might be willing to help." "This is insane," Elena said, but her eyes were bright with possibility. "We're talking about starting a revolution." "No," Marcus corrected, his voice filled with quiet determination. "We're talking about finishing one. The Council has been at war with human independence for decades. They just convinced us we were allies instead of enemies." Elena looked out the ship's viewport at the stars streaming past in hyperspace. "When they ordered you to kill me, what did you think would happen?" "I thought I'd complete another mission and move on to the next target. I never imagined I'd find someone worth protecting instead of eliminating. And now..." Marcus's smile was fierce and full of promise. "Now we're going to show the galaxy exactly why humans are the most dangerous species in the universe. Not because we're the strongest or the most ruthless, but because we're the only ones who refuse to accept that things have to stay the way they are." Elena reached over and squeezed his hand. "The apex predator and the mad scientist. They're going to write songs about this partnership. Assuming we survive long enough for anyone to write songs." "Oh, we'll survive," Elena said with absolute certainty. "And when we're done, the Council is going to wish they'd never heard the name Elena Vasquez." Marcus engaged the ship's long-range scanners, already planning their next moves. Behind them, the Council's fleet was mobilizing for the greatest manhunt in galactic history. Ahead of them lay the unknown territories where rebels and outcasts made their homes. And between them, they carried the seeds of a revolution that would reshape the galaxy forever. The apex predator had found his true prey at last, tyranny itself. And Dr. Elena Vasquez was about to teach the universe that the most dangerous weapon ever created wasn't a gun or a bomb. It was an idea whose time had come.